Hello everybody, welcome to Embrace the Suck, our daily video cast for Elevate OCR. So today is Foodie Friday. We're going to talk about fueling performance during running, exercise, workouts, right? So when we exercise, we burn fuel and we sweat, right? So let's talk about these two things and what we can do to make sure that we keep ourselves balanced for performance. So fuel, the easiest source of energy that our body has is glucose and fructose. These are basically the two different types of sugar that you can put in your body, and this is where the body stores its easily accessible, easy to find, easy to burn energy, right? So the two types of sugar work a little bit differently, and you should balance by having both types of sugar available in your body. After your body burns through the sugar energy, which takes 15-20 minutes to burn through what your body can hold, sometimes faster depending on how high your heart rate is burning, your body's got to go to secondary energy sources. These are harder to find, they're harder to burn, they decrease your performance, and they actually take more energy away from your body. So you don't want to get to the secondary fuel source. You want to keep your body using the primary fuel source, and so you have to replenish it every 15, 20, 30 minutes, and so that's fuel, right? During the exercise, your body can intake about 100 to 120 carbohydrates of sugars, 60 from the glucose and 60 from the fructose. So you have to have both, right? Because 60 is the max that you get from one or the other. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit, because ideally you want a 1-to-1 ratio of glucose and fructose, because then you can get up to 120 grams intake per hour. If you take 200 grams of glucose per hour, which is a lot of one type of sugar, you're only going to be able to get 60 grams of that intake. The rest is going to bypass, so you're not going to get any benefit from it. So let's talk about glucose sources, all right? Glucose sources are sports drinks, that's a good source, energy gels, candy, those are primarily going to be the glucose type of sugar. Fructose is going to be much higher in fruits. So fruit juices, dried fruit, fruit bars, apples, raisins, cranberries are going to have a lot of fructose. So again, two different types of sugars put together, they're going to get you the whole sugar spectrum that you're looking for. So what you don't need in this type of fuel is protein, fats, and vegetables. If you're doing an endurance event where you've got longer than 6 hours, then you can start to put in things like proteins and fats, because you need to replenish that. But not for an hour run, not for a 3-hour run, not even for a 6-hour exercise are you going to need those things added into your fuel. So you can stay away from those. Now, the second thing that happens when we exercise and we run is that we sweat, right? So we lose a lot more than water when we sweat, but let's first talk about water. So the average person is going to lose between 1 liter to 1.5 liters of water every hour for a moderate to high exercise, right? That's a lot of water. That's a whole bottle of water an hour that you're losing. So what do? Well, you got to replace that, right? So you can replace 1 liter or 32 ounces of water for every hour that you're exercising. But beyond water, there's a lot of other things you lose when you sweat. So beyond water, you're losing sodium, salt, you're losing potassium, you're losing calcium, and you're losing magnesium. Those things come out of our bodies when we sweat. And those are vital in keeping us balanced. Sodium is the big thing, and most people don't realize this. Sodium is the most active ingredient in keeping your body hydrated. It connects your water to your hydration system. It carries water molecules through your body. It also keeps your pH balance and your lactic acids in balance, Basically, it prevents cramping, right? People who cramp don't have enough sodium. They've lost the sodium through sweating. They're not getting it in through their water. And that's basically what happens when you cramp. So that sodium and potassium are really important on there. So let's look at some good examples of fuel and hydration. I have some examples that are easy to use when you're running and working out. They're easy to eat. They're easy on the gut. So first is water, right? You're going to need something for water. Either you're carrying a water bottle or you've got a hydration pack with water in it. Now, if you're doing a run of an hour or less, you can get all this before your run. You really don't need it during the run. An hour to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 hours, you need to have about a liter of water per hour, and you need to have 100 grams or so in fuel that you take with you. So first we talk about like Gatorade, sports drinks, all right? This is going to have good glucose, but it doesn't really have the fructose. So if you use this for energy, you're going to need to pair it with a dried fruit bar or something like that. The other thing about Gatorade, and this goes for all sports drinks, is they only have about half of the sodium and the potassium that you're going to burn off every hour. So if you're going to go with a sports drink, you're going to need to pair it with like some sort of electrolyte powder that has sodium and potassium mixed in. You can do that. Or you can find a drink supplement that has a high level of sodium and potassium mixed in. The sugars, my favorite candy, Sour Patch Kids. You've also got sports gels. These are great at the glucose side of that sugar. And then the fructose, dried fruit mix, a fruit bar. That's a good balance. These are easy to eat. I don't take whole fruit with me because it's a little harder to eat. These are simpler, easier to eat. And that works good. And then there's products like Tailwind out there. Tailwind has a glucose and a fructose mix built in, a nice balance. And the big thing is, I don't know if you could see it, but lots of sodium, lots of potassium, about 3 times what you'd find in a Gatorade mix. And so that's a product that's meant for drinking while you run. You're going to get all your calories per hour. You're going to get all your liquid, because you're going to put it in liquid, and you're going to get your sodium and potassium built in. So those are some things that are easy to take with you. Again, if you're running an hour or less, you can get all this beforehand and you'd probably be fine. Take a little bit of water with you if you'd like. If you're doing 1 to 6 hours, you need to have a liter per hour. You need to have 100 grams per hour of the glucose and the fructose mix. And then anything more than 6 hours, that's a whole nother level, because now you're going to have to add proteins and some fats in to get you from that 6 to 8 hour mark up to the 12 to 24 hour and beyond. So that's about fueling for performance. This goes for any workout, any exhaustive run. Keep your body in balance by giving it what it needs during the time you're going to find you're much better at performing during. That's it for today. Remember, embrace the suck. Talk to you soon.